Welcome to my video about artificial intelligence. I've decided to do this video in English because a viewer of mine, XP, really wants me to do it in English, so yeah, let's do it. My name is Nicholas. I stream on Twitch as a dascold. I've been studying computer science for 2 years and worked as a software developer for a German car industry, or actually 2 industries, for almost 1 year. Now, the problem with this video is how detailed I could make it, right? So it's really difficult for me to keep this at a bare minimum to explain, but that's what I will try to do. Otherwise, this video will be way too long, right? Yeah, so that's the purpose. I will try to give people a little bit more information about artificial intelligence in general, because right now we are in a stage in the world where we use it actually in our daily basis, and a lot of misinformation is out there, right? So that's what I want to clear up and maybe give you, just more info. So if you have any more comments about me and this video, you can leave it down below. Let's get right into it, boys. Artificial intelligence is not one thing. It is not one final product of humanity. It's not one robot. There are a lot of different ways you can approach a state called artificial intelligence, right? There are a lot of different technologies, and AI itself is not one thing. You can categorize AI, which I will explain in my next segment. So there are 3 categories you can put artificial intelligence, its end product in, right? There is narrow AI or weak AI. We will explain more about that later on in the video. And we have human AI or general AI, and then we have super AI. So starting with narrow AI or weak AI is probably important. Well, we already as humanity use it almost everywhere. People don't really know that, but we actually use it in our daily life. Narrow AI is there to solve a single purpose. It is almost, well, not one algorithm, but its purpose is to achieve one goal. You probably have smart speakers in your home already, which is narrow AI. So it's a voice filter that we use to achieve a goal. I don't know if you know the app Shazam. You can record songs and it will auto detect what name of the song it is, right? It's a really great app that is narrow artificial intelligence as well. Exactly. Narrow AI is there to handle a single limited task. It is, as I already said, integrated into modern society already. We use it like in spam email filtering and in music recommendations, right? The YouTube algorithm recommendation feature is narrow AI itself. There you can use it, of course. Then I don't know if you have the email provider Gmail, but Gmail recently added a new feature that auto completes your words. Actually, a lot of phones have that already, but that is another example for narrow AI. We use it in our daily basis of life. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that, but there we go. Every company that releases a product that is mainly built around tech, like like small products, they always use the term "we have an AI implemented into the thing," right? And it gets overused really hard. So if your product is not built around artificial intelligence, it's really difficult to put AI into your product. I don't know if you guys catch my drift, right? But let's say, for example, Ring, the smart doorbell. That officially has narrow AI because it has a voice that says, "Welcome to my door. Please leave a message," right? As stupid as that sounds, but that is narrow AI in its core. It solves a single purpose, a single function. Now, that doesn't mean that everything that has a single function is narrow artificial intelligence. And that's my point. A lot of companies mark their product with integrated artificial intelligence, and that is false. So be careful about what you buy. Not everything is narrow AI, of course, but I think after this explanation, you sort of understand what is narrow AI and where it is implemented in modern society. So the next step to artificial intelligence, or the next category, is human artificial intelligence, or human AI, which becomes a little bit more difficult to explain and to find any source of articles, right? So I'll try to do this myself. Human AI is the step we try to rebuild through, we try to build a robot that has human thoughts and human fields, right? That is the basic of human AI. So it doesn't solve one task, but the final product of a human AI is to copy the human and put it into a machine. That's the basic explanation of that. Now, it gets obviously way more complex, because the thing about human AI is, do you really want to copy the feelings of a human and their full humanitarian thought into a machine? Do you really want to do this? Because if you do this, the machine will have barriers which its purpose would be destroyed, because as a machine you don't want to have barriers that humanity has, right? We get to my beliefs and prediction of the of the future at the end of the video, but let's just say really quick that I don't think that the purpose of a human AI should include humanity feelings, because the feelings, if you, let's just say if you are an astroneer in space, right, and you are like in a rocket and stuff, and all of a sudden you see a comet racing towards you, right? A human would obviously try to react, but the thing is that fear is in its way. So maybe your hands like shiver, or like fears in the way, right? So what a human AI should do is make obviously an algorithm to approach and calculate a result to go around. So yeah, overall human AI is to copy a human and put it into a machine. However, the problem we face as humanity is, how much human should a machine be? Now, the next step of artificial intelligence is called super AI, or super artificial intelligence. And the basic of this is, if one human AI creates another artificial intelligence, obviously with its knowledge, after it breaks its knowledge limit and tries to mine for more knowledge, right? If he creates another machine that has unlimited knowledge supply, that doesn't have a barrier to its knowledge, it's called super AI. So if a human artificial intelligence creates another artificial intelligence without a barrier, it's called super AI. And that is a frightening thought, even for me. Like, it's an excitement thought, don't get me wrong, but it's frightening to think about at the same time. One thing I forgot to mention is that we think about it as a singularity, right? So the first super AI that gets created is called the AI singularity. Just like black holes, we can't actually see what will come when we build it. So that's a little frightening. And I want to leave you guys with two quotes. The first one is from William Shakespeare, We know what we are, but we don't know what we can become. And the second quote is from Charles Dubois. For us as humans, it is the most important thing to be ready at all times to sacrifice what we are for what we can become. Now, speaking of the hardware of an artificial intelligence or an AI system, is difficult as well because we have to pinpoint down if we talk about narrow AI, human AI, or super AI. Now, you guys, of course, know already what all that is, um, but let's talk about a little about hardware. Now, computer scientists and artificial intelligence experts believe that in the year 31 we actually achieve super AI, and let me explain why. I don't know if you guys noticed, but if you play a lot of video games, you see yourself that every 1 to 2 years we double the amount of power we can input into our graphics card, and that can be used in artificial intelligence speculations as well, of course. Right now, the new graphics card from NVIDIA has 28.300 million transistors. That is insane, and it has 272 tensor cores. Now, this will only get crazier each year. That's the thing. Technology almost doubles its power each year. If we talk about doubling a rate, that is exponential growth, meaning each year you have double the amount of power you had last year. So if you think about that, um, you already know that the year to believe artificial intelligence super AI hits us, and 2031 isn't that far of a bold prediction. It is achievable. The hardware, of course, gets doubled each year. And let's talk more about the system, right? Let's first talk about human AI and then about super AI and its hardware. So if we talk about human AI, it's obviously important to know which sort of purpose the human AI has. Let's say, for example, a normal robot interface that greets you when you go into the bank, right? And it says, hello user, do you want to withdraw cash or do you want to meet a real person, right? So that is obviously a very low programmed human AI, and obviously it has some amount of sensor cores. It has probably RAM. It has obviously a CPU. It can be connected to the network, but it doesn't have to. And that's the thing, of course, with these human AI systems. Yeah, so a AI itself isn't really as different as as your daily PC. Like, it has a mainboard as well. It's probably way smaller than, of course, your mainboard in your PC. Now, super AI is a whole different thing. Then again, you have to think, of course, about if you have multiple super AIs or just one. Is it connected to a network with gigabit data transfer or even 5G? Or is it just one and it doesn't need a network to upload things? But if it doesn't have a network, then its memory power is, of course, super limited. Now, speaking of memory is actually pretty interesting as well. A couple of months ago, Microsoft introduced us to the wonder of glass, to the next step of hardware. Now, this is pretty interesting, of course. The way this works is they use laser to laser glass, and I will I will show what type of memory we are talking about, like what power. But yeah, that is obviously something that we as human beings have to consider as well, that technology doesn't stop from here and we have to program human AI. It doesn't stop. It's a continuous process that doesn't stop. It's difficult to pinpoint hardware in a super AI system because we literally don't even know what is there to come, okay? Or what is there to come in the next years. Our next category or topic will be machine learning. Now, what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning? We will cover that right now, but let me first explain machine learning. Machine learning, getting data or mining big data and processing it to get a output using an algorithm. That is the basic. Now, what this process is, we will cover it in the step after the next step. But let's talk about machine learning itself. So you have to collect data in order to get to achieve this, and I actually want to I actually want to talk a little bit more about that itself. If you have privacy concerns about collecting data, you are putting a barrier between our future of getting AI in our daily basis. If you are concerned about this, it's okay to be a little frightened about it, but you shouldn't be super scared. Okay, take that as a reference. The thing about collecting data is that it's actually super important for us. If you have Alexa in your home and you are scared that Amazon takes up data that you set to Alexa, listen to this, okay? The company needs your data in order to make the machine better, okay? That is the first step of improvement. You want to improve the machine you have. So I didn't want to say this, but if you are a software engineer or if you are a tech enthusiast, you shouldn't be scared about collecting information because this is the essential part about making tech better. Imagine if Amazon couldn't collect your data from Alexa, right? Your product would be really shitty. Me as a German, I can use different slang to talk to Alexa. I don't have to say, Alexa, add a beer to my shopping list. I could say, Alexa, add a beer to my shopping list, and um it still could get the whole sentence, right? And that is because many users allow Alexa to gain data and they are friendly to the privacy settings. And I want to make this clear as possible. Guys, be friendly to privacy settings. Now, cookies is a whole different story, but privacy settings included in AI systems should be either turned completely off so it can gather your information, or it should be set on low. Okay, now the next step. So considering that data was collected, back to machine learning, um, this data needs to be processed. We will cover that later. And using an algorithm, you can get a result. Okay, now let's use an example here. Let's say I have an example. Machine learning using data from 1 million patients, including or are times of the past procedures done, and patients' disease, gender, age, and medications. Now, if you run this through the algorithm, you get the result. Let's say from each patient, you can see 30% OR capacity as a result. So if you run this through a process, you can get a simple math output, and that is called machine learning, right? Now the machine knows that patients from age 20 to 30 are more in the habit of denying meds if you are in a hospital. This is the outcome, and the information will be, of course, used in this AI system. So I hope I explained machine learning to some extent. This video is already way too long, dude, but I'm sorry, I just have to explain it the best I can. I can't pinpoint it down into 2 minutes. So yeah, it's gathering information, processing it to get an outcome, and machine learning uses this outcome for future gathering of information, right? So to make the human AI or narrow AI stronger. Oh boy, now we come to the cool stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Deep learning. Um, Deep learning is the next step of machine learning and is already used in many companies, like in Nvidia and companies from Elon Musk and Microsoft, and basically every company that invests in artificial intelligence has already deep learning. But let me explain what deep learning is, okay? I already said deep learning is the next step of machine learning. And deep learning models can make their own predictions entirely independent of humans, right? Machine learning models still dependent on humans, but deep learning models uses something called neural network of the human brain. It analyzes data with a logical structure similar to how human would draw conclusions. So deep learning is gathering a lot of information, right? Big data mining, big, getting data out of a lot of sources. I'm talking in the 10,000s up to a million data, right? Actually, not a lot of CPU usage or graphics card usage, because the more we invest in hardware, the better deep learning networks and neural networks actually get. I explained a little bit earlier what tensor cores are, but yeah, this makes deep learning way easier. Now the next category is neural net. Last topic of deep learning. Neural network is basically a copy of our brain structure. Machines have something called an AO system, which stands for input output, right? And um, neural network uses that as well. So you have one basic input, then a process happens, and you have an output. Now, this process, you can imagine it to be a layer. Let's take an orange, for example, and you run it through a neural network. The outcome should be yes, it is an orange, or no, it's not an orange, right? Simple as that. So you put a picture of an orange in a neural network as an input, and you run it through, let's say 2 layers, right? This is a really simple explanation. The first one is the question, is it round or is it squared, right? Is it round or is it not round? And if it is round, it will proceed to the second layer with a yes tag to it, right? Like a yes flag or a binary one, for example. If 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 it has the yes flag, well, it will get through the second layer no matter if it has a yes flag or a zero flag onto it. But the second layer would be, is it orange or is it another color? Simple as that. If it is orange, like the color, and it has a flag of 1 from the previous layer, then the output will be yes, it is an orange. Let's say if you put in a squared orange, right? Obviously it would be photoshopped, but it would get through the first layer, getting a flag of a 0, a binary flag of a 0. Then if it would go through the second layer, saying yes, it is indeed the color orange, but this first layer already said no, so the output is no, it's not an orange. So this is the core, or let's say the simplest explanation of a neural network one can put out. So obviously Larger neural networks don't provide 2 layers, they often provide more of 200 layers to get the correct output that, yes, indeed, it's a 99.99999% of a chance that it is the correct output. So that is a neural network explained. You get an input, you run it through the layers, and you get an output. So now in this step, I want to give my future prediction and personal thoughts. So my thoughts are, what makes us human? Every human is unique and has its own thoughts and its own imagination. They act different as we go through life, we change. Even if humanity has one goal, and if we work synchronized, emotions will still be in our way. In my belief, emotions is humanity's biggest weakness. Murphy's Law will die as soon as we have and achieve super AI or singularity, and that is good. For those of you who don't know Murphy's Law says anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Now, I believe there are 2 paths in the future, possibly even a middle path. First, I see there's a left path, that artificial intelligence will work for us and we will develop for us an integrated safety protocol. The requirement for this to happen is obviously security needs to be 50% in the entire IT field. Now the right way. Artificial intelligence will work alone with one goal: to explore and overcome humanity. We will be in the way, just like apes. The requirement for this is security needs to be overwritten and overcome, and there shall be no safety protocol, for it is a barrier. Now in the last category here, I want to give my personal movie recommendations to you guys. And the first one is a movie called Transcendence. Don't worry, I won't spoiler much. However, I of course have to explain why it is my favorite movie. So if you don't want to get spoiled, you should skip. So this movie is about a man who Tao was directed by Federico D'Alessandro in 2018, and it explains it shows a woman that gets kidnapped by a software developer. He works for a company, or he has his own company, but he creates a human AI with the safety protocol embedded. And this movie is all about her bonding with the artificial intelligence robot named Tao, and together they escape. And Tao, at the end of this movie, breaks the safety protocol to try to learn more about humanity and what it is, and it tries to get the personality, which is really great to watch. It's an awesome movie. Now, my favorite movie of all time has 3 robots in there, which are as well human AI, but in a really low form. It is Interstellar. It is a movie from 2014, directed by Christopher Nolan. Most of you guys probably already know it, but it features robots named Tars and Case, Kip and Plex, which is honestly awesome. You guys should watch it. These are these are pretty cool robots, guys. You should definitely check it out. Now I want to give 2 movie recommendations which are great as well. The first one is called Ex Machina. It's pretty cool. It shows a um, once again a human AI going rogue and wild and breaking the security code, and it tries to go crazy and escapes, which is pretty cool as well to watch. And the second one is called The Morgan Project. It's a movie from 2016, and it sort of is the same. It shows human AI escaping and breaking the security code as well, which is pretty cool to watch as well. Another great movie is Replicas. It is almost like Transcendence. It's about a scientist who copies his brain into a network as well. Um, it's yeah, as I already said, it's almost like Transcendence, but it's great to watch as well to see what possible achievement would look like if we would achieve human artificial intelligence as well. Now, the last great movie I want to recommend is actually a movie that aren't included in a lot of top 20 artificial intelligence movie lists, which to me is a mind blower. How can this not how can this not be recommended, dude? It's called Automata, or Automata in German, and it's a really great movie. I think it's actually the ultimate movie you guys should definitely watch. It's about a guy um, that gets saved from a robot, and these three robots travel to a area in the world um, which is a nuclear wasteland, so humans can't follow it. And in that nuclear wasteland, they create the first super artificial intelligence machine, and it's great to watch how they all like have it all nicely set up robotically, and then they create this first singularity, and it's really cool to watch it. You guys should definitely check it out. Now the last topic I want to point out in my movie recommendations is actually an actor called Michael Fassbender. I don't know if you know him, but he played in Prometheus Dark Times and in Alien Covenant, and he played one of my favorite human AI robot. It's great to watch him. Yeah, so that's it for this YouTube video. I hope I showed you guys some cool things. Oh, I want to give a book recommendation as well. It's called Humanity 2.0 or Menschheit 2.0 on German. It's written by Ray Kurzweil, and he is a software developer working for Google. And it's a really cool book. It covers a lot of stuff, so you guys definitely should check it out. Um, yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I hope this was a great video. A little bit different this time, but I thought I had so many thoughts about artificial intelligence, and I definitely can explain a little bit since I'm a software developer myself. So yeah, you guys should watch these movies. Make sure to watch them. They're great movies, all of them. Fun fact, Michael Fassbender was actually in Detroit Become Human, the PlayStation exclusive. Um, yeah, he actually was in that movie because I don't know why, but the guy is always in these artificial intelligent movies, and I love him. And I love the game as well, by the way. Play the game, watch these movies, and you guys will be bombarded by great, cool artificial intelligence movies. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.